Let's Ruin It podcast, where we take your favorite pop culture media, put a legal spin on it, and like all lawyers, we ruin it. I am one of your hosts. My name is Jenny. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Diana.
Hi, I'm Liz.
And we have a very special co-host today. This is our very good friend, Alison Shale. She also happens to be a very world-renowned child psychologist, sleep specialist. And Allison,
We only bribed her slightly to come on to this podcast.
Correct. Allison, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we will explain to you why she's here today.
Yeah, I mean, I first have to say, truly honored to be here. Like, longtime listener, you know, so I really feel like I'm just with celebrities.
Long time.
So-
We've been on a year, but yeah.
Yeah, but you know what?
The whole time.
And Jenny knows I was listening to your last episode in the car on the way here. I am really keeping up.
Love to hear
Yeah,
that.
so you're good. Thanks for that lovely introduction.
No, you're welcome.
I am a child psychologist. I own a small little practice called Shale Psychology. I work with children, adolescents, families. I love ADHD. I love anxiety. I love all
Wow,
those
she
things that
speaks
most
my
people,
language.
don't like. And now I've got, and I really love helping people get their kids sleeping better. So I do have a workbook coming out in June and a great Instagram if people want to follow Essential Kids Sleep, where we'll
Where
be
has she
putting
been
a lot
all my
of
life? My
good
children
stuff.
are a lot
Yeah.
older now, but wow, I wish I
It's
had known.
never too late to get good sleep, Liz. So I am your lady. I'm here to help.
No, see,
Yes.
now they're 20 and 17, so now they sleep all the time.
Yeah, different problem.
She's
right,
trying to
right.
wake them up.
Can you get her kids to not sleep?
Bigger kids,
Yeah.
bigger problem. That's right.
Wake
Less sleep,
up!
Right, yeah, less sleep. Yeah. So that's me, and I'm just like so excited.
So
to be
happy
here.
you're joining
We're
us today.
so
happy.
excited. And
So are you guys excited to find out why we roped her into coming
Yeah.
into this
Right.
podcast?
How did I land here?
because we're going to talk about Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense. Woo!
Right. That deals
The
with
amazing, the
Amazing.
classic,
So good.
now. Sixth Sense deals with a
done
first of
by
all-
Shyamalama, because
Right.
that's how I say his
First
name.
of all, if someone hasn't seen this, there are going to be massive spoilers here. Which
Stop
includes-
listening. Stop.
1999.
Correct.
If you
But I
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it,
it, yeah.
you're kind of sad.
But
Yeah,
we have
missing
to
out.
talk about all the spoilers because
Yes.
this is one of the biggest twists.
Ever that people had seen
Ever.
up to that point.
Right.
I think we hadn't seen a twist like that.
No.
But I
That often.
gotta ask you guys, despite knowing the twist at this point, do you not still love this movie? 'Cause
Oh,
I do.
I
100%.
love
I
it.
don't care that I know.
I actually
Oh,
love
yeah,
it
yeah.
more.
No.
Like when I first
'Cause
saw
you
it,
look
I
for
didn't
the
know the
stuff.
twist.
For the-
and it
you
was-
look for the
but now
Easter
you see
eggs.
all
Yes.
these little Easter
Yeah.
eggs.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
amazing.
I have things to say.
Oh, Jenny.
Okay, I'm gonna
Okay.
preface that by saying that we received texts from Jenny throughout this
Yes.
entire week as
whole
we're
week.
prepping for this show
Yes.
because she had serious anxiety about this movie
Absolutely.
and
Maybe I
could
did.
not
Maybe
watch
I
it.
I didn't know that.
As
I
of
didn't
last
know
night,
that.
For
as of last
real.
night,
Couldn't
Jenny
make herself finish
had not
it.
watched the
Oh.
last 20 minutes.
I finished it.
Okay, thank
I
God.
finished it.
I was
Had
like,
you never
okay.
seen it before? Was
It
this a
took
first
an
time
eternity.
view?
I saw it. I saw it one and only time when it
Okay.
first came out in high school.
Okay.
I chose never to watch it again.
Okay.
But look, here was the plot twist.
Okay.
Bruce Willis was dead the whole time, guys.
Yeah.
If you didn't know it, I'm very sorry.
He was
Yeah,
dead.
he was dead.
The whole
He
time.
was dead
Yeah.
the whole time.
Crazy.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
get the awkward part out of the way.
Okay.
Allison. Are you alive? Right now. You're good.
I am.
Okay.
Yep, here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Look, I'm touching
here.
her. I'm touching
Like,
her.
how do
am
we
here,
know
not
for
dead.
sure?
Here, not dead. Different than him.
But like if we
You're right.
if we feel like the hair stand up at the back of our
Right.
necks, then we
Right,
know
yeah.
she's
Then we
lying
know.
and
Right,
she's
right,
actually
true.
not alive.
Right.
So
I guess you don't really know.
Maybe the ghost will visit us while we're doing this podcast.
Yeah. Ooh.
Oh no! Stop! I'm moving.
Jenny's gonna quit. Jenny's about to
Stop.
quit.
Yeah, right. Literally, Jenny's leaving.
Yeah.
So we need to keep her.
So-
Deal
It's a
breaker.
good thing you're here.
Right,
Right,
yeah,
yeah, the third
right.
wheel.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
So the premise of the movie is that this is a very well-respected child psychologist played by
Very
Bruce
well.
Willis.
Yes.
The movie opens with a former patient of his who is now grown up and who is played by
Donnie Wahlberg.
Mind
Oh,
blown. Mind
oh,
blown. Mind
Amazing.
blown.
Mind blown.
Mind blown.
I-
Still don't see it.
I don't
God.
see
That
it
Well,
blew
he
me
lost
away.
so much
much
weight
weight,
for this
yeah.
role. Like
Right.
just went
for the
on.
5 minutes of it.
But worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, he put
Right.
in a lot of
Very
work.
impactful.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, he kind of had not been doing much, I don't think, at that time.
Yeah,
Because
or-
when I saw it was
or
him,
since,
wasn't-
or-
I remember back then, I was like,
Stop
Yeah,
It.
right,
I
right,
know.
right.
What's it? Blue Bloods.
Oh, well, then in that case, I
Yeah, but that
retract.
came after.
Right,
Sure.
that was
Yeah,
after.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
later.
No. Now
She
he's...
made a dig. She said, or since.
I mean,
Ooh,
sorry.
Diana.
Did I just like ruin our chances of getting Donnie Wahlberg on our podcast?
Right, yeah,
I'm so
they just
sorry.
went down.
Hey,
No,
Josh, the
God.
NKOTB is
I
like back
know.
and bigger.
I mean-
Yeah, they
We
went
don't
down.
subscribe.
Yeah,
Look at that.
yeah,
Josh
yeah.
just threw it up on the screen.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
the picture I
God.
looked at.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Josh, you're gonna have
Amazing.
to
Doesn't look like
put
him.
this into the actual.
Doesn't look like him.
Into the actual.
I
No, it doesn't
just
look like him.
can't.
No, it's
It's
crazy.
amazing.
Donnie
He did
Wahlberg,
such a good
you
job.
deserve
Yeah,
an
still don't
Oscar
see it.
for those 5
I
He
years.
agree.
did.
I
It
agree.
was such a
I
good
agree.
job.
So in any case, this is a former patient of Bruce Willis's
Yup.
who
breaks into his home.
breaks
Right.
into his home and shoots him.
Right.
And the scene ends with Bruce Willis bleeding out.
Yep.
Right.
And then the next scene starts with sometime later
Right.
in guys, it's set in South Philadelphia as opposed to
South Philly.
no,
I was
as
thinking
opposed
it
to
was
West
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
That's what I thought too.
That's what I thought.
Where
No,
important
she
people were
didn't.
born and raised.
She
Yeah.
went there.
Right.
On the basketball court.
On the playground.
On
That's
the
where I
playground.
spent most of my
That's
days.
right.
Grounds,
Where I
yeah.
spent most of my days.
Shooting and in any
Yeah,
case,
okay,
okay.
right.
We're
Wow.
talking about different things
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Right. Right.
We'll go through the whole song. After
Yeah.
We'll go through the whole
We'll go
song
through all the
later.
lyrics.
In any case, he is now he's taken on a new patient played by Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah.
Right? Who a brilliant child actor
Yeah.
who did such a
One of the
phenomenal
best
job.
Oh my God,
child
he really
performances
He really
I've ever
is
seen.
He's
unbelievable.
incredible.
And
Incredible.
so stoic and
And when you
it's
see it
really
now,
impressive.
like
yeah.
you're still impressed.
Of
He was
course,
an
yeah.
incredible child
Yep.
actor.
But
I've
also,
never seen anything like
what
it.
a creepy premise that
For a little kid.
right?
Yep.
That he had to
Yep.
kind of live through
Right.
and do and
Right.
be.
Yeah.
Right, and the
it's
psychologist
just-
in me went, "What did he know of this going
Right, like-
into it? Like, did he understand that that's what was going on? Like,
I
did
mean,
he know the
must
punchline?
have, right? Like,
And is that a little bit weird and traumatic?
Well,
for
I
him
mean,
in
he
some way?
spends the whole movie talking about how he sees dead
Dead
people,
people,
and how he
right.
sees people
Well,
being
not right away.
hanged, and no,
It took a while for
But,
him to
you
make
know,
the big reveal,
sure,
which
right.
everyone like who knows this movie sees that clip.
Yes, right,
and
right.
just everyone.
I see the, it's like
Exactly.
iconic. It's one of the most
Yeah. And
iconic lines from a movie.
trembling
Yeah,
and
he's scared.
he's
Yeah, yeah.
crying. It was so
He's so
gut-wrenching.
good. He's so
Yeah.
good. But also remember, he was already a child actor. He was
Right.
in Forrest Gump.
Right,
Yup.
right, right,
You know,
right,
he
right. He had done big things.
You know, he
Yeah.
he didn't go in this blind. Like I think
No.
he had experience. And from what I've seen, Haley Joel Osment has grown up to be a fine, well-adjusted
Yes,
adult.
right, yes.
And
I think
I
he got
mean,
through it,
he had
yeah.
an amazing cameo on What We Do in the Shadows a few seasons ago.
Oh, okay.
Hilarious. Check it out. He's so
Okay.
good. Topher. And so, yeah, I think he's okay.
okay,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
great,
Okay.
okay.
I'm not a psychologist, but
But-
I think he's okay.
I'm gonna agree. I think he's
But
good.
can we talk about if we're gonna get right into it? Basically, Bruce Willis, what we think as
Right.
of the viewers, that he has been hired to help this boy who has
Who's troubled?
Issues.
who's troubled,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, mom's obviously concerned.
Right,
Correct.
right.
School is
Doesn't know what to
concerned.
do.
Right.
Right.
But
Right.
is school really
Ostracized.
concerned? School's kind of like,
Well,
this
the-
is weird.
Well,
They-
school,
right. Well, at
is-
one
we'll
point,
get into
when
it,
he
but
drew
school's
when he drew all those
terrible.
creepy
Right.
pictures,
right.
Yeah.
and the school was built on a former
Yes,
courthouse,
right,
yeah, right,
where,
yeah.
Where Haley Joel Osment tells us people were hanged,
Right.
and the teacher says no, they were lawyers and lawmakers.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And he said those are the ones who did the
Yeah,
hanging.
Right.
Guys,
Sorry,
we don't
guys.
hang anyone.
Yeah, yeah.
But we did.
Right.
I guess.
Not us
Right.
personally.
So Haley
Right,
Joel
not you
Osment
personally,
knows
right.
a lot of horrible things
Yes.
that have happened to people
Yeah.
because he can
see it, yeah.
dead people,
Right.
and he learns a lot of information. You see that with the scene with like stuttering Stanley.
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah,
he
yeah,
knows
yeah,
things
right,
about
right,
people
yeah,
because
yeah.
the ghosts are
The
telling
ghosts are
him.
telling him,
Yes.
Yeah.
But he approaches this boy in the beginning. Allison, jump in. Do you stalk your patients on the
Right.
street?
Yeah. You know, it's.
And
Is that how you get
follow
most of your
them.
Right,
patients?
that's how I usually do. I just sit outside people's houses on benches.
I've seen you.
Hope they
I've
come
seen you.
outside, and I'm
I've
just
seen you on
taking
Prospect.
notes.
I'm like, get
I'm
out.
just taking notes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
that part
and-
of it was a little alarming.
And the kid,
yeah,
the kid
right,
runs
yeah.
off. Of course he runs off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a dead guy following him.
Right.
Of course
Yes.
he runs
Right.
off.
Yeah.
Begs
right.
the question:
Yeah.
how did Bruce Willis? How did he know like to find Cole?
That's just something that's never explained.
That's
Like,
not
how did he
explained.
get
How
introduced
did they
to him?
actually get
Right,
truly
'cause-
like connected?
Right, because before
yeah.
you know the twist, you assume the mother must
You
have.
assume the mother has
Right.
hired
Because
him.
when
because you
Haley
see them in their house
Right.
together. He's
Sitting.
sitting and having,
But-
waiting with mom in her
And
pajamas.
then you don't
also
notice until
weird.
later that,
That
they
they don't-
never
never
talk
talk.
to each other.
Yes.
Well, that's one of those nice Easter eggs that
Yeah.
they never talk. He never talks to his
But
wife
it
when they're out
didn't
to dinner.
seem
Yeah.
weird at the time.
Right. No,
Like,
no.
I was kind of. I
No.
just assumed they were waiting for him to get home
Yeah.
from school. The
Right.
timing was great. right?
Yeah.
The kid walks in. She's like, "Oh, honey, hi, how are you?"
Right.
Takes his stuff, blah
And
blah
then she
blah.
leaves
Right.
to let them
And
talk.
then she leaves to let them talk.
Exactly.
And maybe they had a conversation
seems
prior.
normal.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Seemed totally normal. Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
also the mother, like, does she not hear that her son is now in the living room talking to just
To someone.
just
Yeah.
like talking, having a conversation?
Yeah.
We'll get into the
Some of that,
mother's,
yeah,
the
right.
issues with the mother,
Yeah.
legal issues.
Yeah, I feel like Jenny, building off of what you just said, like
Yeah.
the thing that stands out the most to me is that, this sweet, sweet child psychologist just has no boundaries, it seems.
Yes,
He's
right.
everywhere. He's at a show, he's in your living room, he's standing
At the
outside your
church.
house, he's,
Right, he
all
meets 'em
over,
there,
just
and then-
appearing and
yeah.
constantly,
And he's
it's
always
24-hour
there.
sessions.
When after that really traumatic scene, and we'll get into that one also, the really traumatic scene where he's hospitalized.
Yeah.
And he reveals that he sees
Sees
dead
dead people, yeah.
He shows up at the
Yeah,
hospital.
he's just there.
He's sitting, talking to not talking, listening to the doctor. We
Right.
think he's talking to
Right.
the
Yeah,
doctor,
right,
but
right.
we then obviously know no one's talking to him. No
Right.
one's hearing him.
Right. Yeah.
And also, his wife doesn't talk to him, but
Right.
he just thinks she's mad at him.
Yeah.
But,
There's a lot of things happening
But
here.
Cole says they don't know they're dead. Like they don't know they're dead.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, whatever, like the ghost way of doing things, like the physics of ghosting is, he's just not getting these clues.
Right.
And it's not going to ever like get into his mind.
No.
Like, it's just
Right.
not, he's not going to
Right.
be, it's not obvious to him.
Yeah.
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 I just obviously knowing the twist when I was watching this on rewatch, the whole time to me, I was like, well, it's because you're dead. No one's
Right,
talking to
yeah,
you. It's
right.
because you're dead. And I
Right.
just kept yelling at the TV, it's because you're dead. I also couldn't get through more than like 5 to 10 minute increments at a time.
Sure.
Yeah, you
'Cause
had
you
a
were
really
just
stilted
frustrated.
way of watching it.
It
Yeah.
took me days.
All right.
Absolute
So
days.
let's get into the legal mumbo
Yes.
jumbo that
Okay.
we
So
were able
Yeah.
to dissect.
And I feel like it's funny because I obviously am not a lawyer, but I feel like so much of the legal stuff is similar to like the ethics stuff as a
Sure.
psychologist,
100%.
right?
Sure.
When we
Right.
think about a lot
Sure.
of the things that
well,
were going
and
on
the first
in
thing
terms
that I
of
thought
consent
of was,
and all
did
of
he
that.
have a duty of care?
Right,
to
like
his
duty to
patient?
warn
Both
something,
patients.
yeah,
Both,
right,
yes.
right.
Because first I'm thinking Vincent. So like
Yeah.
the first crime we're talking about is a murder-suicide
Yes.
that happens
Yeah.
in Malcolm's house,
Right.
right?
So very clear cut.
Very
Vincent,
clear.
Right,
I mean,
right.
Vincent would have been prosecuted for murder had he not killed himself.
course, yeah.
and
Right,
there
yes.
would have been an insanity plea, obviously,
I
and
would
very
think.
well
I would
documented
think. I would
history
think.
of mental health
Yeah.
issues.
So
and
I went down this rabbit hole that I wanted to talk to you about
Mm-hmm.
because then I started thinking about, okay, so now they're all dead, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I guess Malcolm had some kind of a duty to Vincent in some way if he thought that he was capable of doing
Right.
this. He
Danger to
should
self,
have taken
danger to
some action.
others, yeah.
He should have done something if he thought he was a danger to himself or others, right? That's the legal
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's the
That's-
legal
that's-
standard, it's
it's
the
an
ethical
ethical standard,
standard,
yeah.
it's the whole shebang,
Right.
right? So then I'm thinking, okay, so then does Vincent's family have some kind of claim for some kind of wrongful death action now?
Based
Now
on
Malcolm's
breach of duty?
dead, so I guess it would be his estate.
Well,
But so
Like a
could
failure
he-
to warn?
Right, like could they
Well, the only
possibly
thing
make like a medical malpractice lawsuit in some way against
the
them
issue
now?
is medical malpractice, if I'm not mistaken, is a 3-year statute of limitations.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent is an adult now. So any care that was provided, medical care, was provided, I'm
long
guessing
time
at
ago.
least
Right,
10
10
years
years,
ago.
yeah,
Okay.
right,
Any
right,
possible
right.
claim for med
Right.
mal has
But
long
also,
since expired.
also, I'm not sure we have enough evidence from what we see that Bruce Willis knew at the time.
Right. So
that
my
he had
thought was
something
there
to
there
report.
might have been another provider somewhere between Bruce Willis and what
Right.
we're seeing in the present with
Okay.
Vincent,
Whereas-
right? Like at
Right.
some
Yes.
point maybe he was too old, right? Let's assume that Bruce Willis sees these little kids Cole's age.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vincent wouldn't be his patient anymore.
Okay.
There was probably, yes, a
Right.
long period of time between where Malcolm's care
Yeah,
of Vincent
okay.
had
Right.
ended and,
Fair point,
and,
yeah.
the date that we
So-
meet Vincent.
So what is your duty? What is your job if you're seeing a patient? At what point do you breach basically therapist
Right.
Patient,
confidentiality?
Yeah, yeah. That's like that's
Right.
one of one of the things I talk about with patients the first time I meet them, even little kids, are the limits to confidentiality, right? If you are a danger to yourself or danger to others, I may need to tell someone. Is kind of always how I say it, whether that's their parent, whether that's police, because like an identified person, someone has said they're going to hurt X person, or really identified, not I might hurt someone, but like I might hurt Diana, then I have a duty to warn, a duty to protect. That's kind of that side of it.
Save Diana.
So there's a lot of, there is like legality to it.
Yeah.
ethics to it. It kind of all overlaps, but it is a little bit murky and muddy because you want people to trust you and tell you things. You don't want to necessarily respond or tell someone they should be hospitalized or make that phone call and things, because then you really risk the relationship. But obviously, number one goal is keeping people healthy, safe, and alive, right? You can't treat people if they're not alive.
Is there like a particular standard where it's like, once I hear this is where that duty to report kind of comes
it's
in?
really
or it's just like an
funny
innate
because one of the things that I took note of is when I watch other people being therapists, I go, oh, this is why therapy's so hard, because there isn't like one rule to most of these things. So like, yes, if somebody says I'm going to hurt myself, it's pretty cut and dry. But we know there's a lot of ambiguity in what people kind of say and do,
And how it's interpreted.
and how it's interpreted. And people are smart, right? If they really want to do something, they might not tell you, right? I can't read people's minds, right?
Like, they're like,
Vincent
oh, I
could
just
have
wanna
been
end it all.
Vincent
Right.
could have been keeping his cool for a very long time. He might have told nobody that he had suicidal ideation. He might have told nobody he had these feelings about this therapist. And so then maybe there was no duty to warn anyone or protect because nobody knew.
Right.
Maybe he wasn't
you
seeing
know?
anybody at the time.
And maybe
but,
he
I
wasn't
mean,
seeing anybody, but even if he was.
The portrayal of Vincent at the beginning,
Right.
he was not keeping it cool and he was not
He
keeping
was
it
not
together.
keeping it cool.
He
No.
was,
But-
I thought he was a heroin addict when I first saw
but
him.
you
Like,
do have
he
to
was
wonder,
messed up looking.
Right, and you do have to wonder though for someone like Vincent, right? So like it's hard to be involuntarily hospitalized, right? If he's not vocalizing, I am a danger to myself or to others, there's not a bed for him. So
No,
he could
that's
be
true.
saying kind of wonky sorts
You
of
could
things.
even be saying that stuff and,
and
they put
still
you on a temporary
right,
hold and they
absolutely,
release you
and then they
don't
release
have
you
a
because
bed
they don't
for
have a bed,
you.
right? So
yeah.
there's systemic issues that might have been at play
Right.
If
for
you
why
get,
it got to this.
If you get to the point of that you do have to report,
Mm-hmm.
are you ever able to testify? Are you ever able to take it that far?
Right.
Or does your duty stop at the reporting?
And you kind of like
Yeah, so there's different types of kind of psychologist witnesses in different situations. So if it's my actual patient, I'm considered what's called a fact witness.
Right.
So I could actually say, like, I treated this person from this day to this day. This was their diagnosis. Here's what we did. But I couldn't really give like an opinion. I can't
Would you
really
be
do
able
that.
to say, and then he also said to me,
Yes, I
Yeah,
can
you
say
can
he
divulge-
said this. I can
you can
I can
divulge
document
what was
a fact.
said. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a fact. He said this, right? And I've documented it on my end, and I'm just reporting that. There's other psychologists, forensic psychologists, who really do
They're
more
like
of,
expert
like
witnesses.
they're expert
Right.
witnesses.
Yeah.
That's exactly
it's like
it. They're
someone you have
coming
not
in.
seen
And they'll
before.
testify about somebody's like mindset.
They
Like
can
when we
testify.
talk
They do
about
their own
like
kind
the
of
insanity
evaluation.
defense.
Right,
that person.
And
is
they'll
doing.
Kids
do
like
that.
this
Yeah.
generally, like
Yes,
that's how
that
they're talking
kind of
about it.
person.
Right. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
But I feel like Malcolm's duty ended so long ago.
A long time ago, I think you're
and
right.
one might even say that maybe he was not successful at his job, but certainly not like unsuccessful. He wasn't like it wasn't malpractice of any
He
sort.
did
because-
grow to be an
because
adult.
he did grow
Right,
to be
right,
an adult. So
right,
there's
right.
presumably
You're right.
10. I think Donnie Wahlberg was
I'd
what,
say a
like
solid 10
27,
years,
28. Like,
yeah.
at this
It
point,
kinda
at
looked-
least
yeah.
10
We
years
don't
has
know how-
passed.
We don't
Yes, I
know,
would say at
but-
least 10.
At
Yeah.
least 10 years. So he got him to the point of now you're an adult.
Right,
And
right,
out
right,
of his care because
right,
he
right,
only treats
right,
kids.
and released him for some reason, right? Did he transfer him to somebody else, or had he reached his goals? Right. So
We
there's
also-
some reason why he stopped seeing him.
Right.
Well, and it clearly had been a long time because Bruce Willis didn't
didn't
remember
remember
him.
his
Right.
name.
Didn't
Right,
recognize
didn't recognize him and
yeah.
didn't
It
remember
took
his
him a
name.
minute to figure
Yeah.
out
Who he was.
It also didn't sound like when he was treating Vincent that it was like suicidal ideation.
That wasn't the thing,
It was
right.
more like you didn't catch in me that I saw dead
Yes,
people. Like,
right,
he
right.
is
Yeah.
like the precursor to Cole.
yeah.
It's like
Yes.
I had these issues,
Right.
and you
You
never
didn't know
caught
it.
it. You didn't help
Yeah.
me get through these,
Right.
and now I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
Actually, what was really cool was later in the movie when he went back and he went to look at his old records, remember? And
Yes.
he found the tape of sessions
Yes. Oh,
with
yeah,
Vincent
yeah,
and stuff
yeah.
like that. And then he played it like super loud.
Yeah.
And you can hear like Vincent having a conversation with somebody on the tape.
Yes.
Yes.
That was super interesting
Yeah.
and really creepy.
And that's
say
the, that's the
interesting,
moment
right.
where
You
I
say
realized
interesting,
that
I
he
say
has the
scary,
same
yeah,
issues
right.
Yeah,
as Cole.
yeah,
right,
yeah.
right,
So
right.
it's actually kind of funny because what ended up leading to his death, I guess, helped him ultimately
Help Cole.
Cole.
Right.
help
Oh,
Cole.
yeah.
So I guess it's kind of a redemption arc in some
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
You know what I
it
mean?
is.
It
That's-
was
yeah,
super interesting,
yeah,
really interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Cole.
Yeah.
And all the crap he's got going on with
Yes.
this poor kid.
Yeah, this poor kid.
But there's a lot of legal issues that are going on with Cole
course.
too. Like we were talking about. Go ahead, Diana. What about her sad sack mother?
Oh my god. Okay. So I think
Tony Collette, by the way, love her.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Great
great,
actress.
great.
Great
What a
actress.
cast. What a cast.
amazing
Yeah, what a
cast.
cast.
Yeah.
So her name in the movie is Lynn,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to make the argument that there's some child endangerment issues here. That
Yeah.
there's neglect. I
Right.
mean, he's alone all the time,
right.
and she's
Right.
And I'm sure she's trying her hardest. You know,
Look,
she's a single mom.
I'm gonna
And
say,
she's
I'm
got
gonna
two
defend.
jobs.
But
I'm
I'm
going to
gonna
defend Lynn.
She has not
defend
gotten a
Lynn.
psychologist.
2 jobs.
She has not-
Dad is not in the picture.
Right.
We don't know why.
Right.
So either he never stepped up, they divorced, he took
Right,
off,
who
who
knows?
knows? But he's
Right,
not
not
in the
there,
picture at
yeah.
all. She's trying to deal with
No,
everything.
they divorced because when Bruce Willis is taking his notes,
Yeah.
Oh, he writes divorce,
product
something,
of
yeah,
divorce or
divorce, yeah,
something.
yeah.
Oh,
As,
okay, cool,
as
cool.
was Vincent, by the way.
Right.
Right.
So he's got these 2 kids who are product of divorce, and I feel like this was like, I don't know, it was like in our direction, like an insult in our direction.
You think?
I mean,
Do you see a lot of divorces caused
Look,
by
I'm
a
going to say
child seeing
caused
ghosts?
by...
I guess is the question.
I'm going to go with I mean, I'm just going to
Is
say...
that like a deal breaker in a marriage?
Stressors.
Yeah.
Stressors. Like,
Yeah.
those are weird stressors that end
Yes.
up being, like,
Fragment
I think,
relationship,
like,
yeah.
can be accusatory, like...
Your
it's
fault.
because of
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
because of
So-
you
Right,
that he's
right.
like
You
this.
coddle him.
Shit
Right.
like that
Yeah,
happens
yeah,
with
But
right,
haven't
right.
you seen it? Haven't you seen it both ways? Where
Yeah.
there are issues, and those issues cause a divorce.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because the stress of the
Absolutely.
issues
Of
course,
causes
yeah.
a breakdown of the family.
Rather than the divorce causing
Causes
the
But
that.
also,
Right.
there is the issue of the divorce, and the
Right.
children cannot handle.
Absolutely. Was this stress induced?
And I'm sure you
Correct.
see
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
also.
Was
Right.
this stress induced
So
psychosis
we
or something?
see it.
Yeah.
We see it from the angle of the divorce is potentially wreaking havoc on the mental state of the child,
Yeah.
and the child can't properly process the death of a family. Right. That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
what
Oh,
this
yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
right? And so we then refer them to you.
Right.
And so then you're getting what we've done.
It's so hard to figure out. Like, I know
The leftover garbage.
I mean, in case you
What
guys
you
don't
throw
know
at
by
me.
now,
It's
like-
Jenny and I do family divorce and
Right,
divorce
right.
law, so we
Right.
deal with this stuff a lot.
Yeah.
And it's always like, but it's always that sort of like weird kind of question, like. Is it better
What came
to stay
first?
together,
Yeah.
or is it
Oh,
better
yeah.
to not be
apart.
together?
What's better for the
because
kids,
there's
right.
stress no matter what.
Yeah.
If you're together and you're arguing all the time, the argument is it's better for the kids not to see that, so we should divorce.
Yeah.
But then once they're divorced, that fighting doesn't usually go
So it
away.
doesn't stop.
So it continues, and now you're in separate households. Sometimes
Right.
it gets worse.
Yeah.
So is that any better for
Right.
the kids?
Right.
And
Yeah.
I don't think society really has an answer for that.
No.
Because I don't think either
Well,
way
because there
is
isn't,
good.
right.
Because you
'cause
see a
there
lot
is
of
an
that where
answer,
it's like
yeah.
the people stay together because they're like it's better for the
kids,
kids if
right.
we don't get divorced. But
Yeah.
then there's like
There's all the fighting.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
Right.
not only
But then the
not
kids
only
think
but it's
that's
just
where
not
relationships
right.
are.
It's
Right.
like it's not a
And-
healthy environment that you're growing up
No,
with,
yeah.
or like you're not seeing a healthy relationship as
Right.
an example. But
Yeah.
then also you become an adult, and I've heard this from friends of mine whose parents divorced later in life, like when they were already like. I don't know,
Like in their
college
20s.
or
Yeah,
in
yeah,
their
yeah.
20s. There's also an element of guilt, like they were unhappy and they only stayed together
Right,
for
for
me.
us, yeah. Right.
Oh yeah? Huh. Or
Do
it's
you
funny.
see a
I
lot
never
of
thought
kids
about
who
that.
deal
Okay.
with these issues, and is it? Which one are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people who stay together
I feel like we're
for the
cross-examining her,
kids.
too.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
no, I like it.
Like we're getting
Ask
insight.
away.
She's on the side.
I'm getting
away.
insight from her.
Ask
Right.
away. Yeah, I think that I see a lot of people, and again, it's a small sample, right? So it's
Sure.
not
Sure.
certainly not reflective of like the world.
Yeah, of
but
course.
a
No,
lot
you're
of people, right?
world-renowned.
Yes,
What are you
right. I'm
talking
world
about?
renowned. True. I forgot that Jenny gave me that. I totally forgot. So in my worldly experience,
wealth of
Yes.
knowledge
my
and
worldly
experience.
experience, I think a lot of people do stay together. There's a lot of kids though that are aware of it and go like, "Oh, the elephant in the room." Like, I just wish they would. You know, so I think very much,
I
Liz,
hear
what you're
that.
saying is true, right? Like, society doesn't know what the right answer is because every dynamic is so unique. Where one
Isn't
of you
that
was
the
saying.
spiel we give Jenny? Every divorce
I'm
is
sure
unique,
every
and every
family's
family is
unique,
unique.
right?
So it's
and
true. You
that's
don't
why,
know.
right? Like
Yeah.
you feel for Lynn because I think she is hustling
trying
and
her
working
best.
hard,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
who knows her reason for not getting a therapist for him, right? Is it resources? Is it she doesn't know where to look? Is it in the 90s, we weren't
Right.
talking as much about mental health and therapists.
True.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
everybody's looking for a
'cause
therapist.
this is 1999.
Right? It's
Right.
really, really different in the 90s, what people were
Right.
thinking about mental health and therapy and what that meant versus now. If someone went to their school and to their teacher and said, like, I see dead people and these things, there
What
would be
would you
such
do?
a reaction.
Right.
Oh
So
my God.
What is the reaction if someone shows up and says either to you or to a teacher or to a mom, I see dead people? Is the response you're making things up? Is the response you have to be
overactive
committed?
I don't think so
imagination.
anymore.
What is it?
No, I think in
I
this
feel
day
like
and age,
DCP&B is getting cold.
I was going to say, I think, like you would hope that they don't jump to that, but I bet in some situations they would. But I
Child
think
Protective Services, whatever. Every
Yes,
state
right,
calls it
right,
something
yeah,
different,
right,
wherever
yeah.
you're watching
yes,
us from.
right. CPS is what I think of it as
Yes.
still. I think that if Cole came to school or came to me and said, I see dead people, that's when I'd be bringing in other professionals. I'd want him to have an eval. I'd want him to see like maybe a psychiatrist? Like, does he need meds to kind of tone this
Neurologist?
thing
Of course,
down?
Cole's not stupid.
Maybe a
Cole knows that,
neurologist.
which is why he
Probably
never.
not.
Right, meds might be involved.
Yeah.
He kept it to himself
He
for
kept it
most
to
of the
himself,
movie because
and
he
that's the
knows
thing,
that.
he knows.
He knew
Right.
that.
And I think in '99 this probably wouldn't have been the case, but I think now there would also be a child endangerment issue of like if you're seeing in your
Yes.
child like severe like signs of trauma,
Yeah.
like
Right, you
emotional
need to do
trauma,
something.
and you ignore
Yeah.
that, I think at that point becomes like neglect
Yeah.
So now
and
let's talk
endangerment.
about that because when
Right.
stuff started happening, and then he's at the birthday party,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's locked in the room, and he has
that
that
was
horrible
torture.
traumatic
Awful.
Yeah.
experience.
That was
Yeah.
such a
right?
heartbreaking scene for me.
Horrible,
I hated
horrible.
it.
First of all,
Hate all
you've
his
got
classmates.
bullying, right?
Yeah.
You've got
Bullying,
bullying
yeah,
going on
right,
by
right, right.
all of the kids.
Yeah.
And it's
And
implicit.
nothing's done about it.
Nothing.
Right.
Like you know what's going on. The teachers apparently know what's going
Right.
on.
And
But
nobody's
nobody
doing
does
anything.
anything
Yeah.
about
The
it.
teacher
In fact,
calls
at the
him
very,
a freak.
Right.
At the very
right.
beginning of the movie, he's bribing the kid to
Yeah.
walk him to school so his mother doesn't worry about him.
Right.
Right? So there's all kinds of bullying going on. The kid's smart though. He like tries
Very.
to work
Yeah.
with it.
Oh, yeah.
But so they're bullying him, they lock him in the room. There's that traumatic experience when he's under the stairs and he's
Yeah.
stuck in
Screaming,
there
yeah.
with some dead
Yeah, yeah,
person.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
that
can't.
was
Horrible.
I can't.
I
I
know.
can't.
Right,
All
right.
of
That's
where
those
Jenny
scenes,
fast-forwarded.
all
Right.
of those scenes,
know.
I would like
I know.
fast
Yeah.
forward
30
seconds, 30 seconds, 30 seconds, yeah.
It
So,
was
but then what ends up
awful.
happening, right? He gets hospitalized,
Yeah.
right? And then
Right.
mom ends up getting accused
called.
of
Yeah.
abuse.
Right.
Yes.
Because
Right.
the kid's got bruises and stuff.
Yeah.
all
And so my
over
question
him.
about that was, he's got like scratches and bruises. Is that from the ghosts? Like they can actually
He
hurt
said
him?
at
Yes.
the end when he finally confessed to his mom,
Right.
he said that the ghosts hurt him.
Yeah.
Which but some of them are nice to him,
Yeah.
right? Some
Well,
of them
it's-
are.
a lot of them
obviously it
seemed
depends.
nice to him. In
I think
the
it depends on the
Depends.
ghost.
It depends. It depends on who it was that he was seeing and
Right.
whether
Right.
they were like vengeance seeking in some way.
Or if they felt heard.
Yeah, yeah,
right,
yeah.
or if they felt, or like, okay, now I make my dirty confession about, not that I think it's a big secret, but I have this obsession with the
Oh, my.
supernatural. So I watch a lot of
I thought you were going to say
supernatural.
other things.
Yeah,
No.
so did I.
I watch a lot
I
of
thought she was
super-
gonna say
I
she
got
sees
really
dead people.
excited, actually.
Yeah.
I
I
watch
got
a
really
lot of
excited.
supernatural stuff. I do believe in ghosts. Okay.
Okay.
I do believe.
Okay.
Right? No, I do
Okay, can you not say that now? Can you do it when I'm not in the room?
Right, seriously.
I do
Jenny
believe
is
in it.
getting ready to leave.
So I don't have such a hard time with this whole concept, right? Anyway, so my point is, I watch a lot of that stuff. I listen to a lot of these paranormal commentators
Yeah.
and things like that. And they talk about sometimes it depends on, he might be experiencing residual haunting. So there are people that are stuck in like a loop
Yes.
of their trauma. So he's seeing some people that are stuck in the loop of their trauma.
Guys, I
and
bet
he's
you-
seeing other people. Yeah,
I bet you didn't think you were going to get like
Jenny is
ghost
not-
talk.
I had no
Ghost
idea you were
talk
such an
101.
expert.
No,
So-
if you start saying Bloody Mary, I'm
Oh
walking
my
out.
God.
I'm walking
Jenny, would I
out.
do
Bloody
that
Mary,
to
Bloody
you?
Mary.
Yes.
Wait, if I
Right.
say Beetlejuice 3 times, is that okay?
I'm
Is that gonna
walking
break you
out.
down?
Oh,
Beetlejuice
can we,
is a good
we should
one.
do a twofer.
Oh my God. And we just go back and
Beetlejuice,
forth.
Beetlejuice,
See
the
how
new
long it
one.
takes before
Okay.
she runs out.
And
Yeah,
then what?
she's
Like
out.
Winona Ryder shows up?
Yeah.
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 Oh my God, that'd be
Love
great though.
That'd be amazing.
I would love to have her on the pod. So yeah, if that's the way to get
Winona,
her, I'll do
throwing
it.
it
Then we'll
out
do
there.
it.
Would love
Come
to
on.
have you.
Michael
on. Let's
Keaton,
talk
Michael
about
Keaton, come on
Beetlejuice.
our podcast.
Totally.
I will
Anyway.
say Beetlejuice
Right.
forever.
As
if
is,
it brings him on
as
the
is
pod.
normal, guys, we are diverging.
Yeah.
Woo,
Right.
taking
All
a big
over.
What were we
way.
This is
talking
fun.
Anywho,
Yeah.
so,
No, but yeah.
But yeah, so it could be a residual haunting situation where they're stuck in the
How
loop.
did-
It could be that they are really still kind of like stuck going like, where am I? I don't
Yeah,
know what's going
right.
on. Like,
But it almost feels like the resolution in the end is that he knows he can't just ignore them,
Yes.
and
He
that
has
if he
to
kind of
deal with
works
that.
with them,
Yeah.
he won't be
has
hurt
to.
by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Right,
question
right.
for
He
the
has to
expert.
align. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since you are in the know about these things, these ghosts show up to him in the place where they died.
Yeah,
right.
usually.
Right. How did Misha Barton find him? By the way, Misha Barton, the dead
that
girl.
was
That was another
interesting.
one when I saw her.
No,
That
I
was
have to fast
interesting.
forward.
I think some of them, because I have seen a lot of these things, and I've also seen like a lot of the people who are mediums,
Yes.
like the Long Island medium.
Yeah.
I happen
Yeah.
to love her.
Right.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Teresa.
Yeah.
Anywho,
Yeah.
I love all that stuff, and I've been to like their live shows and stuff. And I've been to seances and stuff. I've also been to a medium who helped me correspond with my dead father. Yes, indeed.
Wow.
So
You would-
I'm into
This
all
is
that
perfect.
stuff.
You,
Okay,
my,
I like it,
my
yeah.
very good friend and hairdresser, Dina with the pink hair. Shout out to Dina with the pink hair. Okay, is also
Ooh,
does
Dina.
this.
I think I
is
might
also
go for
into
pink
this.
hair. I think I might have to talk to Dina.
Call Dina.
Yeah, call Dina,
But
okay.
also Dina does readings, and you would have an amazing conversation with
Oh,
her.
so
I
Dina's
would
your
have
girl.
Dina do a reading.
Yeah.
We should
Your
bring
Yeah,
her.
let's
hair and a
girl.
reading.
Girl.
Hair and a
We
reading.
could do the movie
Yeah.
Ghost. We could
Hair
do
and
the
a
movie
reading.
Ghost.
Oh my God,
Dina.
maybe we should do that live.
Wow.
That would be so cool. I'll get my hair done and we could talk about it.
Wow,
What a
the
concept.
ideas
Tina,
are flowing.
Yeah.
your
The
Yeah.
ideas
idea.
are flowing.
Tina, you're up next. This
Ideas
is a
are
great
flowing.
idea. I'm loving this.
Yeah,
I am
this is great.
loving this. Anyway, so yes. What were we saying?
I was saying,
Oh,
how
how
does
did he
Misha?
find Misha
How
Barton?
does Misha show up to
Yeah.
his house?
I think
Wait,
it's the same kind of
Wait, what do you
thing.
mean to his house?
She does. She shows up in the tent. His
Oh,
tent.
yeah.
and she's
tent,
vomiting.
And
Remember?
then
Right.
she also
She starts
didn't
throwing
she also
up,
show
right.
in the hospital.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
She
think
was
she
vomiting
was
in a
everywhere.
tent and vomiting.
Because once, okay.
And
so
then she
in
says, "I
in
feel
the
better."
in the ghost community, I think word spreads that someone can see us, and they
Right,
and they come to the person,
seek that person out.
right? Because they're like,
they?
hey, this person can see us and can talk
help
with
me
us,
get my
and she
message and
wants
yeah.
to get resolution.
Yeah, she
When
wants
you
she
that
wants to
message.
save her sister.
Right.
When you
Right.
say word spreads, do they send text messages?
mean,
is
I
it
feel like-
is it
I
a
think they're
carrier
just
like it's a
communicating. Yeah, I
like
think
a-
it's just
Yeah, I
thoughts,
think it's
like a
waves. Yeah,
telepathic
I agree.
sort of
I'm gonna
thing.
totally agree with Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just floating through, and they're all just feeling it, sensing
I
it,
think so too.
and
Oh, is that
energy.
the part that's not believable? Is that they need to actually communicate through writing?
That's
Right.
right.
Oh yeah,
Verbally?
that was
Because
the part.
otherwise,
that-
otherwise it's not
Yeah.
believable. These
That was the
ghosts
one
are
that
just
got
like
training. Yeah.
like hearing
Yeah.
each other's voices.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not believable.
That's the
Okay.
one.
What are they like?
So
just
actually,
communicating?
now I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Which scene and which dead person did Cole see that freaked you out the most? Because there was a lot.
the people hanging in the school was
Yeah, but
very
you didn't
freaky.
see.
You didn't see that,
Yes,
but-
but you didn't see all
You know
of
what it
them
was?
really.
It's
so
like
that
the
didn't
beat.
bother me
It's
that
the
much.
beat that like
Yeah.
and
It makes you-
Shyamalan
it made
puts
me,
because
like-
it's
Yeah.
a jump scare.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. It's you.
I
Yeah.
flinched.
Right.
But without doubt, it was Misha
Misha
Barton.
Barton. I think so
Yeah,
too.
with the vomiting.
I
Right.
couldn't. I
I'll
look
tell
at
you
the
what.
bike rider.
That was
I couldn't-
that
the
was
bike rider
definitely-
that ended
and the
up
bike-
the bike
yes,
rider when
that
she was standing
mine.
next to
Oh,
him.
yeah.
He
When
was
he's
like,
like, it was a
sitting
bad
in the
accident.
mom,
He was
and
like, how do you
somebody
know?
died, and she's like, and then she's right there.
there.
And-
That
yeah.
freaked me
Guys,
out.
I just got
Yeah.
chills. and shit.
Oh, I
Yeah.
just got
That
chills.
one
too.
got me
Yep,
too.
that freaked me
I'm
out.
with you.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say that one actually I think bothered me more than Misha Barton.
Josh, what was in this building before we were here?
Yeah.
Right? I think we need to have. A
I don't want to
seance.
know. Oh, we need to Dina with the pink hair.
No!
Come
She
on
would
over.
never.
Tina, no.
Jenny's gonna quit.
Right. Yeah, Jenny's
quit.
literally out.
Yeah. she's
Okay.
No, but it
So,
was Misha. But
let's
talk about her.
Misha.
Yes.
That's
Misha,
exactly right.
yeah. Oh.
Because
So-
that was a big part of the movie.
So
Yeah.
basically, she conveys to him that she's got unfinished business,
Yep.
and so he and
Yep.
his shrink take a bus trip.
Right.
His dead shrink
Right.
take a bus trip
that
to
was
her house,
amazing.
to Misha's
Right.
funeral.
Nobody
right?
is
Right,
bothered
yeah.
by the fact that this little kid is on a bus by himself,
Right.
Talking to-
essentially.
or-
You think he's
Or
not,
with his therapist,
but he
right?
is.
So,
Have you ever taken field trips with
Not
your
typically
patients?
taking
Yeah,
trips
are you
with
allowed
their
to take
patients.
trips with
I
your
think that
patients?
feels not so
Without
ethical
the
to me.
mother's like consent.
Right, no
That feels
consent.
not right. Yeah.
That feels not so good.
you don't hop
Yeah,
on a bus
right.
with your
Not
patients.
hopping on a
Got
bus.
it.
So
Again, like the
you
amount
go to a
of
funeral? You
hours.
don't
the,
do
I
that?
don't know how you
No,
even
no.
bill insurance for this.
Yeah,
just-
yeah.
Right. Can't
Right,
figure that out.
covering
What's
all
the
this.
billable? What is the
I mean-
billable for this?
So you know what? Let me.
Although let's be real, most of your stuff's out of pocket. No, like
Well,
do you
true.
take
Yes,
insurance?
right. No, true. True.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember,
I mean,
but still, I got to put a
sliding
code on it.
scale.
I
She
still
has
have
to
to put a code on it. I
So
still
you
got to put a code
so
on
you
it.
There's
charge
no
an extra.
code.
And
There's
then
no
Yeah,
code
you
for a
charge
bus
an
ride.
extra.
Bus
That's not a
trip,
45-minute session.
all of that.
Right.
Let me ask
Yeah,
you a
that's not a
question.
45-minute. Yeah.
You obviously want to connect with your patient, right? And
Right,
we'll
of
go back to
course.
Misha for a
Right,
second.
right, yeah.
But you obviously want to connect with your patient. But there's got to be a line.
Yeah.
Where you're not then taking on the patient's issues
Stuff.
on yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not hopping on a bus and
Right,
taking
to
the
go
kid
help
to a
them
wake.
with that thing. Yeah,
Well, let's
right.
consider
And-
the fact that this is Malcolm's only patient right
Yes,
now.
right, right. So
Right.
he's got
not working much.
got a lot of time.
He's got to do
He's
this.
got a lo-
Yeah, he's
not- he
all
doesn't have a
in.
lot going
He's
on.
a
No one
one
talks to
patient
him.
I know. He's,
Right.
he's lonely.
Right.
How is he? But how is he
Right.
getting paid?
Well, no, and I did think, wow, he's again, they called him the son of Philadelphia, and that award he won right at the beginning
good
for
Lord.
how great he
Right, 'cause
was
he was
as a
very
psychologist. And I did think,
renowned,
wow,
yes.
he has one patient. What a nice way of building a practice.
Me-
to
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Hold on. When you were watching them, like
no,
the movie for
in
the
a
first
suit.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went into this thinking, let me just pretend that I don't
Yeah,
know he's
that
dead.
you don't
Yeah.
know him,
Right, and I'm just going to see this as he is truly the psychologist, and
Right.
he
He's
is
the son of
there.
Philadelphia.
Well,
And he's the
because the
son of
first time you
Philadelphia.
saw it, that's
The first
what
time
you
you saw it,
thought.
that's what
Right.
you thought, right?
Right.
So you're going into
Yeah.
it. When you're looking at it from your
You're
legal
right.
lens, from my lens,
Yeah.
I feel like you kind of have to look at it as if you don't know the twist,
Yeah.
Yes.
right?
No,
you couldn't do
every
that.
5 minutes
right.
I
Jenny
yelled,
was
"You're
like, he's
dead.
dead. He's
Yeah.
dead. He's dead. No, I didn't. I was like, that's a weird thing for a psychologist to do.
Diana,
Strange to be in
Jenny
your house.
couldn't
yeah.
suspend disbelief. Are
No.
you
Not
surprised by that at
no,
all?
I mean, not surprised at
hold
all.
on a minute.
No.
No, hold on a minute. I suspend disbelief for
The entire time she's
many
pulling up like
things.
clips of like how they shot the film. Be like,
Right.
it's fake. Okay, boom mic, got
Yeah,
it. Okay,
right.
everyone's involved. This
No,
is-
but the whole time I
this
just
isn't
I
real.
was
This
like,
isn't real. This
sweet
isn't real.
Jenny.
no, the whole
Yes.
time I just kept sitting there going, nobody's talking to him. The guy ran
Right,
away. No,
yeah.
you're dead.
Right.
I just couldn't.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. Right.
couldn't do it.
Right.
Can't.
Right.
Honestly,
Yeah.
M. Night Shyamalan, it was an excellent
Like,
film.
Excellent film.
If everyone was like you,
It
we'd have
just
no
wasn't
career.
for me.
Right.
The
Yeah.
problem was, and okay, definitely an aside, and I love him, but Shyamalama started here with that movie. And
didn't-
quite
it
frankly,
didn't go well after.
nothing
Nothing
else
has
has
No.
really lived up to
Yeah.
it.
Correct.
Well, because Diana's point, there were no movies. I think this was the first time there was a movie that had
I'm not
such a
saying-
crazy
yeah,
twist.
like, 'cause-
I'm
No,
not
hold
saying
on.
I haven't
Because
enjoyed.
he had done like Signs
there
before
were
that. There
other
were movies he did.
that I have liked of his.
Signs was after.
No, it was after.
Oh,
it was after.
No, this was his
And The Village
big.
was
This
after.
was
The
big,
Village.
big.
Yeah.
The
The
Village
Village had, by the way,
I didn't mind The Village. That was an
underrated
interesting
movie.
twist.
I
No.
liked that twist a lot. I liked it.
Don't
I
think
thought
I've
it was
seen
really
so sorry.
interesting.
Oh my god,
No.
Adrian Brody.
Have you guys ever seen?
love
and
Adrian
I
What about
think-
his new one? Have you seen Trap?
No,
No.
wait. Yes, I did.
That was interesting,
I
right?
did, but you know what? The interesting thing is there was no twist. You kind of learn what the whole spiel is
Yes,
of like what's
but
happening
it's the
early
tension,
on.
But it's the tension.
I liked
Yeah,
that movie a
I
lot.
did too.
Trap is a really cool
I
movie.
did too.
Watch it.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
venture to
Josh
say
Hartnett.
one of
Yeah, he's
Tea.
one of the other biggest twists around that time.
Yeah.
It was not Shyamalan. It was
Blair
have you
Witch?
guys? No. You thought I watched Blair Witch? No.
like
Have
Blair
you
Witch.
guys?
Blair Witch is great.
I
Have
love
you
that
guys
movie.
ever seen The Usual Suspects?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh great
Oh, I
twist at the end.
love
No.
The Usual
I
Suspects.
am really
No,
not. You
so
guys
we're
are
not
my
gonna-
movie
so,
education.
Hold on.
Or don't
we're not
ruin
going to
it.
tell you this.
Listen, The Usual
It is-
Suspects is fantastic. My husband
twist is
blames me to
The
this
twist is
day
fantastic.
that I ruined
it.
it for
Okay,
him.
Twist
Sorry.
is fantastic.
Okay.
And not a scary
Yes.
movie.
No, it's not.
something
Okay.
Jenny
No,
can
it's
enjoy.
great.
I
It's
trust
a great
Jenny's looking
thriller.
That
excited.
twist
Yeah.
is so good.
Wow.
So
you have to
good.
watch it.
All right. Okay.
But
So
it's not
we're not
done in
gonna-
the
And
same
I'm
way.
gonna
but
be
yes.
on record right now admitting that Tony, my husband, still blames me for ruining that movie.
Yeah.
You
Are
should
publicly
apologize.
Because I'm publicly apologizing.
Wow.
I've apologized many times over the years.
That's a bad one to
Wow.
ruin.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
here's the
it's-
problem. We were supposed to watch it
don't
together.
say it.
No,
Don't say it.
I'm
No,
not.
she's going to.
We
She
were
should,
supposed
yeah.
to watch it together, and I watched it because he was working late one night.
This is your defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I watched it, and but I was gonna watch it again with him, but I just happened to watch it,
Yeah.
and he walked in right
At the twist.
At the twist.
Oh gosh.
Look,
So then he saw it, and he was so
I'd be so
Yeah.
mad.
I get
mad
that.
at me.
I get
Did
that.
you
So
all see
mad.
The Sixth Sense? Like going in blind, like no one had
Yes.
No,
spoiled
yeah,
it for
yeah,
you?
yeah, yeah,
Me
yes.
too, and that,
Yep.
that's so good.
Yep.
I have
Yeah.
to say, It's Always Sunny had a really
It's
good line
good.
about this because they're like, oh my god, that big twist in The Sixth Sense. It's like, what's the twist? That guy with the hair, it's Bruce Willis the whole time. And I love that. That's like the best line.
great.
We say that
That's
a lot.
great.
at
Yeah.
home for
Yeah,
no
that's
reason.
great.
That's really
That's
good.
great.
Okay,
Right.
so let's go back to Misha Barton for a second.
Okay.
So they hop on a bus. They go to her. They go to her
Yes.
wake.
Yes.
And he ends up in her room.
Actually, that's really funny. I hadn't thought about that until
Right.
I
right
never
now.
connected
It's
that.
her wake.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, so that
yeah.
just
Yeah.
happened.
Oh, they are.
She
in
just
full
died.
morning.
That was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
super
yeah.
quick.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
interesting.
And
Yeah.
she. Oh God, this
Yeah.
was so creepy.
I know you didn't like this.
She
Pops
pulls.
out.
She pops out under the bed and pulls
Yeah.
his leg.
Yeah.
And I said,
yeah. No, that was a good jump scare.
Yeah.
Let
That
me
was
tell
a
you
good jump
something.
scare.
I almost
Yeah.
texted you guys and said, I'm
I'm
out.
done.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not watching
I'm
anymore.
out.
Yeah.
Like, handle this yourselves.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
good jump scare.
But
was good.
and then she like pushes a box at him, and suddenly he knows what to do
Do
with
with
his
it.
box.
Well, that's right. How did he know who to bring it to?
and the
I
box.
think we just didn't see her
We don't
tell him
see-
Yeah.
that it happened
There's a lot
off
of
screen.
messages
Yeah.
happening.
And I'm
Yeah,
sure she
that's
said,
what I'm thinking too.
play this for,
For my dad. Yeah.
Yep.
Right. Get
And
this
the
in
box-
his
This is
hands.
my address.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a wake.
Right.
Go
Right.
play it.
Go to my room. Get
and
the
the
box. Yeah.
the box has a videotape, a VHS.
Yes, yeah.
That, by the way, was she the original content creator?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently she was recording
Oh, because she's
herself.
making her little videos.
Yeah, yeah,
yes. Oh my
yeah.
god, she's like the first influencer.
Yeah.
Puppet show.
Her little puppet show, right?
God.
Yeah.
She was making a video, and on the video, she inadvertently catches her stepmother poisoning
Right.
her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it turns out she's also been poisoning the little sister.
So it's
Yeah.
like Munchausen by
By
proxy.
proxy.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Which is really called fictitious.
And so
disorder.
Cole,
That's
Wait,
an
what is it
interesting-
called?
Fictitious disorder.
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
Interesting.
I think
Talk
it's
about
not.
it.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. When you like
Yeah.
make somebody else by proxy, you make somebody somebody
For
else
attention,
ill,
right,
for
that's right,
attention.
right. You want
It's,
sympathy.
it's attention
It's
on
attention-seeking
themselves.
On
behavior.
themselves, yeah. I don't know if
Because
it's attention on themselves
because the
or on the
assumption
child, but
is that she gets attention. Oh, poor you.
Everybody-
your daughter.
everybody is getting
I'm so
attention.
An
sorry
outpouring
for
of
you.
sympathy.
even the baby's
Yes.
getting, even Misha's getting attention
Exactly.
for it.
But
right?
it's no different than that other
It's Gypsy
story.
Rose.
Yes.
Gypsy Rose
Oh my
Voucher,
God,
right.
That's
That's what
exactly
it
what
is.
it
Gypsy
is.
Rose,
Yeah.
The
yes.
one that
Right.
just came out, she
Yeah.
made it like that. Her daughter was a debilitated
And
illness.
made her get like
She
all
had
of this, like she had
treatments,
surgeries
surgeries,
and on
stuff. Shaved her
medication. She
head,
spent
yeah.
like half her life
Yeah.
in the hospital, of
Crazy.
Right,
course.
yeah.
And that, I'm sure, I assume, creates in the child like lifelong
Oh,
psychological.
yeah.
like,
I mean,
I don't
clearly
think
Gypsy
that-
Rose killed
yeah.
her mother.
Yeah,
Well,
Gypsy
well,
Rose,
yes,
right? Yeah,
but-
she felt like
yes.
she
So
had
now,
right? Yeah.
I'm curious what you guys think. Do you think that she was making the daughter sick just to keep her sick?
Yes, I
Or
do.
you think that she meant to kill her?
I don't think she meant to kill her.
I don't think so either.
No.
I think it was.
I think she
don't.
didn't care because either way she's getting sympathy. It's not even her daughter. So it's like, it's
Yeah, I
it's
mean,
her
maybe it was
stepdaughter.
more just like, we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
Right.
I don't care one way or the
Right.
other. If
Because if I think she wanted her to die, she could have
Just
done
killed
something
her
bigger.
faster.
You know, like a little cap full of something.
Right,
Just
killed
kind of
her in
like
one
belabors
shot.
it. Yeah.
But no one picked up on it.
No,
No.
no,
So
yeah.
maybe that was the right way to go. Like she was insidious. That
Oh,
way.
yeah. It
Like,
was
she
Not
got
the right
rid
way
of
to
her.
go,
Right.
Liz.
No, I'm just saying.
But
like,
you're gonna
she-
do it.
If
You
you're
work
gonna
that
do
out.
it,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
no one is suspecting.
No.
She would have been
No.
sick this entire
This
time.
entire time. She's
They
saying the
think
soup
it's just
tastes
a
bad.
result
Yeah.
of this illness,
But hold
not
on a
that
minute.
mom did
Right.
anything.
In the beginning of the
Stepmom,
wake,
yeah.
the guests at the wake are talking about how she hasn't been able to get out of bed for 2 years.
Right,
Right.
right.
And now the
now the
sister
younger
is
daughter is
getting
exhibiting
sick.
the
Yeah,
same
yeah, the
like
same symptoms.
symptoms.
What's happening? How is no one looking into this? Where is DCP&P?
wouldn't like the doctors like take a blood test and figure out like, hey, there's like traces
Some
of
level
this in
toxin,
her blood,
something,
right?
right? You do wonder, right? Like, and she's, I'm assuming, not going to school. So, like, who's involved in like understanding what's really going on
Right.
here?
Right.
That part of it is
Yeah,
unclear,
right.
right? From the legal standpoint,
Yeah.
from your standpoint,
Right. From all the standpoints, who's taking care of this?
so many issues.
Right.
Where's the dad? What's
Yeah.
happening? He watches the video, and then obviously it all comes to light. And
yeah.
then you were talking about questions about
but then
what
my
do we then do
question
with
is,
this video?
what do we do with this
This video,
videotape
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Where did it come from?
Right.
What's the admissibility
Well,
of
I
it?
think it's-
You know as well as I do, you have to authenticate something like that.
Well,
who's authenticating
Yeah,
this
but
tape?
it's clearly it's on tape. It's clearly this girl's Misha Barton's tape. This boy finds it in her room.
Right,
He
he
could have
doesn't
just
have
like
to say-
he
Could've
wandered in
stumbled
and he
upon
found
right?
it.
And again, this is pre-AI. This is pre these things, right?
But
like,
he says
VHS,
Kira
you're
wanted
not-
you to see
see
this.
this, yeah, right, right, yeah, right. That,
But
yeah.
and then he walks away, and
True.
they're never going to question him.
No.
But I don't think it will matter too much because
I
how
agree.
he got the tape because
I
the tape
agree.
is already
You're
such
there.
admissible.
Yeah,
like,
He doesn't,
right,
he
right,
doesn't
right.
have to say Kira's ghost handed it to
right,
me. When
right,
she grabbed
right.
my leg from under the bed.
It was
Right,
found
right,
in her
When
room.
she told me
It
to
was
come
something
here.
that we found in her
Right,
bedroom,
right.
and
We found a video and we played it.
Stumbled upon
It
it.
is interesting though from a legal point of view because if you have a good defense attorney, they're going to question the authenticity of this thing.
I think VHS,
Because,
like who's doctoring VHS?
like,
I
don't think
think
it's
20
possible.
years ago or 25 years ago, it was different than now. Where like
Yeah.
AI, things
Yeah.
are, you see videos
was-
coming out that aren't real, but I feel like no one
We didn't
was,
have the technology
no one
to
was
do
making
that,
a fake
right.
VHS.
No.
No one was
You don't
making a
think
fake
so?
VHS
But I'm
is the
even
most
just-
But
authentic
maybe if
way.
you- maybe if you cut it and splice it together,
Splice
it'll
it
be
together,
right.
cut a little tape.
Is there
But
scratch
also,
tape?
even thinking about like that a video camera, or whatever, the recorder
Yeah.
itself
Yeah,
is
she's
huge.
like, I don't
So
know what
like
it's
she
called.
didn't even, the stepmom didn't even notice like there was a video camera like looking at her. It's not like now where you could have a camera be,
Yeah.
this big.
You could have
hidden,
glasses
you could
that
have
are
glasses, you could
recording.
do all
I got
these
the impression
things.
it was like hidden
Hidden.
behind the thing.
Because it was like a little like
either-
stage,
A little
like that you have for a
stage,
little
like,
puppet.
and so it was behind it. No
Right.
one
Yeah.
really saw. You know
Right.
what I
True,
mean?
okay,
So
right,
it was
right. She had her
interesting.
So
set up,
obviously the mother murder charges, obviously,
Yeah.
and then I would
Yeah.
think like wrongful death suit by the remaining family members, like they would also
But,
sue
and
her
also,
civilly.
but also charges because she's now been poisoning the little sister.
Attempted
Right,
There's
and then,
something
so that would be
that-
attempted
Attempted
murder.
murder, sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything against the dad? I guess
I
that's
mean-
a question for you and me.
That's an interesting question.
Right?
I mean,
has he been
Right, did he know?
neglectful?
Right. Yeah, right,
Did
right.
He,
Did
was
he look
in
into
on
this?
it?
Yeah.
Was
You-
he doing anything?
I'd
Like, he
assume
was-
that
I
they were
have a
doctors, like he
tendency-
Right,
took
you
her to
have to think they were
doctors.
taking
I have a
doctors.
tendency to think they're not going to prosecute him for anything.
What about-
because it's likely he didn't
Didn't
know,
know.
and then
Yeah.
they're not going to take away the only,
Sure. Only
parent.
parent.
You
Fair.
know.
What about doctors? Again, we're not shown how
We're
much
not.
involvement there
Right.
was.
No,
So
we're not.
I
we're
would
sort
think
of
that
assuming.
if she's being poisoned, was it cleaning like liquid or
That's
something?
what it
It
looked
looked
like.
to me like
The
some
fact
kind
that
of
doctors
yeah.
missed that
something.
in her blood
Yeah.
work, I would think there'd be like a
That
med
there
mal
could be a problem.
yeah.
Yeah, right, right, right.
claim
Yeah.
against
Like
them.
somebody missed this, and she hasn't hasn't been in school for 2
Right,
years.
2 years, right.
Right.
So like, why is nobody
Although we
figuring
see
out
that
what's
now,
wrong
like,
with
I
her?
mean, even like Gypsy Rose, like, were those doctors like
Right,
sued or
right.
like anything? Like, that they missed all this? Like they were giving
how
her
did they
treatments. They
know
were doing
that it
surgery.
wasn't
I watched the
real?
documentary about that.
Okay.
Apparently, what ended up happening was as soon as doctors started to question her, she would
Jump ship.
move and go to
Yeah.
another
Another
place
doctor.
Right.
and then start all over again with new doctors. By the time they realized something was kind of weird, she would move
But
again.
did they have a
So
duty,
that's what
like,
she
okay,
kept up
even though
with.
she disappeared, like, wouldn't they go to authorities and be like, there was something weird and then she
You would
disappeared?
think. You would think. Then there's also
They
the-
might
They
have,
did
and they
interview
might not
one
take
of,
it.
They did interview one of her doctors in the documentary about that.
And what they say.
And he was really, he talked about how bothered he was by
By
the
it.
entire thing.
Yeah.
And how, he was questioning it and then they disappeared and he felt like there was nothing he could
could
really
do.
do.
But
And
then
he
there
was
was-
really bothered by it.
Did you guys see on the news there was a case that went in the totally opposite direction where they were almost trying to not be Gypsy Rose and where they thought the mom was doing this, but the daughter was actually legitimately ill.
Oh.
And the mom was accused of all of these things.
See, but that doesn't surprise me either because it's like stuff happens and
Well,
then people go full.
Yeah, right,
That
right.
happens all the time. You go
She-
full tilt the
other
other
side.
way.
Yeah,
And
she ended
things
up. The mom
happen.
ended up killing herself.
Wow.
Because she couldn't deal with the fact that like she couldn't
was being
defend
accused.
but also
Yeah.
that she
Herself, her
couldn't
child,
defend
yeah.
her daughter
Yeah.
and she couldn't help her daughter.
Well, I think that's
Wow.
almost like more common that you see like people say, I think there's something,
Something
wrong,
wrong.
there's
And
something wrong,
being
and they're being
dismissed.
dismissed.
Yeah.
We see a lot
Right,
of like
right.
I think that is
women
more
of color,
common.
like
Yes.
they're dismissed and their
I
medical
agree.
concerns are
the
dismissed.
the family, including the daughter, then sued for the wrongful death of the
Wow.
mother.
Did
and
they win?
They won.
Good.
Wow.
Good.
Where was that? Do you know?
I can't remember, but it was
Okay.
it was on
It was
the
in the
news.
U.S. though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty
Interesting.
sure. Yeah,
Going back to the school, I do think that
I think
in,
they
90,
had some
in
liability
99,
issues.
maybe no, but today that school would be sued.
Yes, absolutely.
Hardcore.
Yeah,
Like that,
right,
that
right.
the claims like Lynn would have
Yeah.
been suing that school
Yeah.
today
Yeah.
because
For the
they-
bullying
the
incidents that were
bullying, but
going
also
on,
like
the-
they were
The teachers were
perpetual.
talking to them,
yeah,
yeah.
like the teachers were also kind of like verbally abusing
Yeah.
him
Yeah.
and things that they like noticed and should have reported. They
It
were
was a
mandatory
private-
That's the
reporters
thing,
too.
But it
no
was a
one's
private
reporting
school,
anything.
though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but you know what? Even private
mandatory
schools,
reporters.
Yeah.
well, even private schools, you can sue them. They still have a duty because they still
they still have to report.
They're
Right?
still mandated reporters. Yeah.
And most private schools receive like federal and state funding, so
Mm-hmm.
that it kind of brings them into the realm of that same duty that like a school run by the government would. Like you've accept like that's
I
how
don't know.
you
I'm
could
just
sue a
thinking it was a
college.
Catholic school. I went to a Catholic school and I saw plenty of kids getting hit and nothing happened. So-
Yeah, but nowadays
Now
there would be a
it's
lawsuit.
different.
Well,
And
I
I think
wonder if it's
different now.
different now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
different now.
They still have to abide by certain like codes.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
Wait, I have an interesting one actually
Yeah.
about that. Okay, so when I was checking stuff out, internet is a wonderful place, by the way, guys, which is where
Yeah.
you can catch us. But anywho, so somebody went down a rabbit hole. I think it was on Reddit where they asked a really interesting question. The teacher, when he started yelling, "Stuttering Stanley, Stuttering
I love that
Stanley,"
scene.
right? Right. But the question was, where did Cole get that from?
There
and
was
where
some
did Cole
ghosts.
There
get
was
that
some ghosts.
information
Yes,
from?
I mean, there
Some
were
ghosts.
are ghosts coming
Somebody
down.
speculated
Yeah.
online that the teacher
killed someone.
that the
Was dead?
teacher killed somebody
Oh, and
who
that person
bullied
came back.
him. And because he was bullied, called Stuttering Stanley, and that person came back and said, "Oh,
It was
that's
him.
Stuttering Stanley."
Wow.
He did it. And that's where he got that from. And that's
I
why the
love that.
teacher lashed out and like slammed the
his
thing
hand
and
down, yeah.
got really upset when he started calling him that.
I love
Interesting
that.
It was a very
that's an
interesting
interesting theory.
premise.
I'm
So
not
I
opposed
throw
to
that
that.
out there. Thank you, internet denizens.
Yeah, I like that.
Because even though it's an old movie, this was recent comments
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
People
People are
still-
talking about
People
it.
are still thinking about these
People are
things.
talking about
it's
it.
Well,
interesting.
guys, I think
we've ruined it.
we've ruined it.
Well, that was
Allison
We
helped
always-
us ruin
this
it.
was
Thank
just
you so
the-
much.
We
Like,
always
too
like
much.
to rate our movies at the end,
Okay.
as you know. On the believability scale,
Yeah.
I mean, he was dead the whole time, so I don't.
But
I
like
don't
in terms
know.
of whether they got like the law right or like they like check that off and
The
now
ethical
and the
issues,
ethical
right.
issues
Yeah,
from
right.
psychological.
I'm gonna
point
go
of view.
pretty low on this one.
Yeah,
It's
I
gotta
think it was
be
pretty poor.
maybe a 2.
Yeah,
I was going to say 3
Yeah,
for my first time.
Good,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say like like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I said 3.
Entertainment value.
10.
Oh,
Big
hi.
10.
Big
10.
10.
Big
Big,
10.
big 10. So
One of the
Jenny's
best
giving
movies.
And
it
if
a
you
2, but-
haven't seen it, I mean, really,
So
what are you
good.
waiting
Such a
for?
good
But also,
movie.
if you haven't seen it, you probably shouldn't see it now because we just
we
ruined it for you.
Also true. Oh.
Pretend he's not
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Just
Just
watch
pretend
it
he's not
that way.
dead. Pretend he's not dead. I know, Jenny, you can't, but just pretend.
Oh, it's such
Right.
a good movie.
His
Yeah.
wife loves him very much.
Oh,
Yes.
and that
Oh,
scene
yes.
at the dinner.
Oh, that was really
The dinner, that is
sad.
just.
The dinner,
but that's
that
one of
was
those scenes you look at and you go, how did I not realize that she's not talking to him because he's
He's
not there. There's no
dead.
place setting for him. There's
That
no
was
cup of
so
water for
sad.
He
him.
thought that she was just mad
Mad
at
at
him.
him. Yeah.
And she like very sarcastically said happy anniversary.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
thank you guys for tuning in.
Wow.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so Thank you for being here
much.
with us.
Truly an honor. Really, you guys are the
Come
best.
back.
What a great
We'll-
podcast.
Tell
Everyone-
everyone again your Instagram
Yep,
where
you
they
can
find you.
learn a bit about sleep, Essential Kids Sleep on Instagram. We got a book coming out in June, our workbook. You can buy it on
Awesome.
Amazon. Google me, Alison Shale on Amazon. You'll find my books. And
Books.
yeah,
She has
books.
Books.
Yeah, so this was truly
Thank you
a
so
joy.
much.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thanks for
This
having
was
me.
wonderful.
And
This is
you
great.
guys can find us on Instagram on Let's Ruin It Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Let's
Yeah.
Ruin It Podcast.
Getting good.
Please like, follow, and subscribe.
Spotify.
Wow.
Spotify,
Apple Podcasts. Yep.
Catch you on our next episode.
Yes,
Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.